Aloha and welcome. We are here today with my dear Lemurian sister Anela and myself Celeste to talk about our upcoming retreat to the sacred land of Egypt. And we are putting together a journey to remember. So we're going to share a little bit about that today and our intention behind putting this together, really the call and landing the seeds like for the souls that are meant to join us on this incredible journey because we all need each other, so we're calling in the right people. So let's start just with introductions. So for people that don't know us, Anela, you want to share about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Aloha, my name is Lalenia Anela Malulani Watson. I go by Anela. I come from a lineage of Hawaiian, Tahitian, European, and African roots. And so funny because my African roots come from Egypt. I just found that out. I was raised on the island of Oahu, and I have an ancestral lineage stemming from both Moku Keawe on the Big Island and also in Maui. My grandmother's lineage comes from Tahiti and the Maori background. So um, I have a lot of knowledge through my ancestors that's been coming through the past few years. I'm a mother of three. All my children are adults, thank goodness. And I have three mo'opuna, three grandchildren um, as well.
Do you want to share a little bit about your soul calling or your work where you're focusing on now, because it's just so beautiful.
Yes. So, my work, I don't like to call it work because it's actually my play. I love it. So I use the word hana because it's just the act of doing something. Um, my in 2016, I had a really profound awakening that I call my resurrection. And this kind of sort of guided me into my path. And during that, after that awakening, I was really searching and searching, trying to figure out what just happened to me, you know? And I started being invited into these spaces of healing, different healing modalities. So I learned a few healing modalities. And over time, as I was working in these healing modalities, I had this profound connection with my ancestors. And so I work in both the physical and the quantum fields on multi-dimensional platforms, um, going back from my earthly ancestors all the way back to my star lineages. And during this 2016 resurrection, I began to remember. Yeah, I began to remember and was introduced to this land I knew nothing about. I never heard the word Mu. I never heard the word Lemuria until this time. And I was asking everybody, and my ancestors just took me on this journey of going back to those ways of consciousness and doing things from the heart. Um, I began deepening into my Hawaiian roots and all of those things that I was taught as a child, but I didn't want to return to because I wanted to be Americanized, I wanted to live the Western ways. And after I turned 50, I realized it all came back because that was part of my foundation. And so I do mentorship programs. I work with Ho'oponopono with different families and individuals. I work with sound and vibration. I love Oli. That's an ancient way of prayers, just simple prayers, and speaking to our ancestors, which is our environment, through sound and through those vibrations. It's really hard to explain in English, and we call it Oli, but it goes way deeper than that. There's a deep kauna that is tied to the Oli that we do, the chants. I do breath work, and it's also in an ancient Hawaiian way that I've learned over the years. And so, yeah, that's the type of stuff I do. I've done retreats. Celeste and I did a few retreats together, and this has been our path, it seems, together. We go away for a while, just really integrate into our own and come back together, and we realize, oh my God, we're so vibing in consciousness. I
Yeah.
work heavily with the DNA because I've been blessed to understand those multidimensional parts of us in remembering within the body and the outer, the subtle bodies as well. And so that brings me into those multidimensional realities and being in those different spaces all in the same moment of time. So, yeah.
I love it. So yeah, for those of us who I guess also don't know me, I'm Celeste, and I was born in Argentina and grew up in South Florida. But basically, fast forward, I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening around 2013, and really my journey has been one of um, really understanding how to navigate the multidimensional realms and simultaneously stay in my body, like be embodied
Mm,
across the realms. And so, awakening to Mu back then, and at that time, there was no Google Lemuria, and you have all this information. There was actually like no books back then. There was no videos. Nobody was talking about it. Even Atlantis was like kind of unheard of. And so it was a lot of years of me kind of just swimming in the ethers and not understanding what I was doing, eventually landing on Hawaii and then really connecting to that land. And that's when everything just kind of came together. And since then, I've now started, I'm the founder of the Lemuria Rose Temple, which I help women walk the priestess path. And to me, the priestess path is like the Lemurian priestess lineages, which is the women who were connected to the stars and connected to the earth. And they weren't just healers, they understood the initiation maps of consciousness. And what I mean by that is it's kind of what we both do in our own way, which is really navigating the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is we are multidimensional beings. We do have star ancestry and we also have physical ancestry. And so how do you balance that in a normal day-to-day life and really build something or build your life in a way that feels integral with your heart and the mission of love and simultaneously sharing that with the world. So yeah, it's a lot of remembering who we are. Yeah. And I work with also quantum healing. I'm a sound therapist. And I work a lot with ceremonial spaces. So just holding ceremony for people to just remember and reclaim like we've been doing for so long. We just keep remembering and keep remembering. And as we do, we remember who we are.
mm.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that.
yeah.
Oh, Celeste, so much. It's been such a journey.
It's been such a journey. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming back to the heart is so important because that's the foundation of our existence. Yeah, the aloha.
Yeah.
And this journey has brought me back to such a deeper space of aloha and not just speaking of the word, but living the foundations through our actions of aloha, you
Yeah.
know? And that's where we discover ourselves, and it's a constant expansion through the experience we go through and choosing what actions we're going to take, and that creates like a stronger foundation of aloha in being our authentic selves. So I really love that, the way that you talked about there is that multidimensional part of us. um, how do we ground that in to our earthly now in each moment? And
Mm.
to me, that's really grounding into aloha in our everyday actions through the heart, you know? And can we be that walking action of aloha every day in all circumstances?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's you said it so perfectly because I feel like the more, the more we remember, the more, we walk this path, it's like the simpler it gets. And the simpler it
Yes.
gets, it also becomes more difficult because, I was lost in the multidimensional realms for so long. And then you come back to the body and you're like, oh my God, I have so much real work to do in my heart. I have so much real work to do, like just in my speech and that's what you're saying. It's like the actions of aloha. And that's the ultimate thing, you know? And just being
Yeah.
transparent with ourselves and constantly being in the place of introspection and what did I just say? What did I just do? What did I subconsciously just think? And then and then just shaping the heart field to hold more physical and multidimensional, simultaneously.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny because as we go into Lona season every year, I kind of take a break and I don't do any mentorships, any healing work, no circles, no nothing. And in October, I had prayed and I said, before I go into the space of peace, I want to call upon my ancestors and really dive into my lineage and learn who I am and learn the value and what true aloha is. Show me in these spaces any shadows that I have not seen within myself. And then, boom, November, I get sent home to Hawaii. I'm taken on this journey for 2.5 months. And I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, like talking to the ancestors. I was supposed to be by myself, just jotting down things on my lineage and finding out who I am. And I heard this voice clear as day. This is us showing you.
Yeah.
It's in the action. And I just was like, wow, I'm
Mhm.
given this opportunity. And I really could see myself,
Mhm.
in the actions of aloha. So it felt like in 2025, we really were drawn back into our roots of being and into the body to see ourselves clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so funny because we ask for the thing that we want in our mind, and then when it comes in the physical reality, it's like, no, that it's not supposed to look like that. I want it to look a little bit cleaner. Like, no, this is it. This is what we got.
Yeah. And it's always for our highest good. And I know that,
Yeah.
but you don't see it until you're like in the thick of it. And then you're like, oh, this is what I prayed for.
Be careful what you pray for.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
No, but
all a
it's always
blessing.
good. Yeah, it's all a
Yeah.
blessing. Yeah. So let's talk about the the retreat, like our intention and what do we say? Where like what initially called us there?
Yeah. Okay. So you can go first.
Yeah, so it's funny because throughout my whole awakening process and remembering process since like 2013, I had been getting a lot of visions and activations. And I think a lot of us, especially like the star seeds and the empaths, we get a lot of a drawn to Egypt. And I was always getting those, and I just remember writing it all down. And then eventually, when we moved to Hawaii, it kind of went in the background. I think I had to like
Mhm.
really anchor into the Lemurian frequency. And I remember one random day I was at home in Hawaii and I got a random flashback, like a full-on embodied experience of me being in an Egyptian temple. And it was just very clear what we were doing, why, like everything was given. And I just wrote it down and made nothing of it. I'm like, I'm in Hawaii. Like what am I gonna do with Egypt, you know? Um, and anyway, fast forward all these years, it was always in the background of like, I know I'm supposed to go. I know that's just something that when it's the right time, it'll just happen, right? Like that's what we say. And
Yes.
randomly, one of the beautiful women that I had met in Hawaii this year reached out to me and she was like, would you be interested in facilitating a retreat? Because if you do, I'll go. And my whole body lit up. And then I was like, who would I want to go with? Anela. And then since that moment, I mean, we can talk about it, but the memories have just like, phew. like, this is why you're going, this is what you're meant to do. Just go back to that temple that we had a flashback in, like, remember the waters, really awaken the waters of the body, and then like weave. I always said, like, there's this weaving that needs to happen, like a reconciliation between Lemuria and Atlantis, and it's going to happen through the waters of our bodies. And I feel
Mhm.
like just being near the waters, and being in just sacred communion with the waters of Egypt and the waters of our body and the waters of spirit. um, there's there's an alchemy that needs to happen in real time, and we're getting all of that information now as downloads, and then we exchange it. But it's going to be really interesting to see, like, the souls that are coming with us, and how we're all just working in the multidimensional realms to access these sacred sites. And of course, we know Egypt is so much a part of Atlantis, and kind of the relationship between Lemuria and Atlantis, on how we're meant to really integrate it all to move forward. And so it's just beautiful how it's just sort of really come in like that.
Yes.
We found the temple, actually. It was like it came in very clear. This is the temple that came in your flashback. And when I found it, I just, body chills, and I was like, this is exactly what I saw. So it's gonna be really nice to go there. And I actually have a very strong feeling that that temple, because it's very different than the rest of all of the Egyptian temples, I think it's
Mhm.
actually even older than the entirety of all of the Egyptian sites. And a lot of the archaeologists are saying that. So it's going to be fascinating. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I know when you said that temple, I was just in awe because I was just in Egypt in 2013. And when I walked in there, just all these memories just started flooding in. And I got to back up. Um, I was very connected to Mu and Lemuria. So many things were happening on our retreat. I think we did a retreat in 2020 together in Maui. Was it 2020? When we went up in Haleakala.
Mhm.
And we did, instead of doing a sunrise, we did the sunset and went up to Haleakala, was waiting for the sun to begin setting and descending into the clouds. And I remember starting to do this oli and this chant to really signify and honor the sun in its setting and all that encompasses that, the death and rebirth, just the energy, the mana of the closing and releasing, you know. And in our culture, that's when the day starts. It starts at the setting, once the sun sets and we go into the pole, that is the beginning of the day. And so the setting for new beginnings. And so I did an Oli, and I was trying to think of an Oli that would be perfect for this moment. And I started in on the Oli, and all of a sudden the words started changing, and I felt this energy start moving around my body, and my voice started changing, and I felt like something was embodying me, like this real divine feminine force, but yet the masculine was at my back. It was like both simultaneously at the same time, and I couldn't explain it. And what was coming out of my mouth, and it felt like it was coming from my throat, my heart, and my mouth at the same time, like this energy. So I was doing the Oli, and a friend of mine turned. She goes, "Wow, Anela, something is here. Who are you connecting with?" And I said Ma'at. And she said, "Who is Ma'at?" And I just said Ma'at Nun. And I didn't know anything about Ma'at. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what Nun meant. I all I saw was Nun, and I said Nun, you know. And a few days later, I looked it up, and Ma'at was connected to Egypt. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like, how did that mana come through me? And when I was reading about Ma'at, she had the same energy of Uli. And Uli was another Hawaiian deity that had come through to me years prior to that experience. And it was all about the primordial waters. And so, and the truth, like in the chaos, um, creation began, but it was through these primordial waters. And through my lifetime, I kept receiving information from my ancestors and awakening within me the Kumulipo chant, like the creation chant. But it was in that beginning process that really came in strong. And that was the primordial waters, and it's connected to everything. That Kane energy is just connected to everything in life. Nothing can live without Kane. Nothing can live without Vai. Nothing can live without water. There has to be some kind of sustenance. And in the beginning of creation energy, the waters is what moves and creates life. Yeah. And that was so profound to me. And so in 2023, a friend of mine approached me and asked me if I wanted to go to Egypt. And I kind of put all of that on the back burner. And so it wasn't really there. I was really focused in on like learning deeper into my cultural or life ways, Hawaiian life ways. And when she asked me, I was like, yes. And I didn't have the funds to do it. I didn't have anything. And she said, oh my God, I'm going to connect you. There's only 10 people allowed on this trip because we're going to do a really small group. And I told her, yes, yes. And within 2 days, my the money appeared for my down payment, my deposit. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really supposed to be here for some reason. And then a couple weeks after that, the rest of everything came through. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to Egypt. And it took me like 2 months just to tell somebody, I think I'm going to Egypt, you know? And when I got there, everything started flooding back and awakening. We weren't even on the Nile yet. We were just driving down the road and they had these canals of water. And I kept asking our host, like, where's this water coming from? Because it was a memory. And she said, I think, oh, this water comes from the Nile. And I couldn't wait to be on the Nile. And we did a 5-day excursion on the Nile, and the water was like plasma to me. It was just so, I just remembered these Egyptian waters. And we went into that temple on one of the days, and boom, right there on the wall, I'm getting chicken skin because the wall kind of extended out in like a 3 or 4 dimensional pattern. And I was reading the Kumulipo on this wall. And so when you talked about that
Kumulipu, for people
temple,
that don't know, the Kumulipu is the creation chant that you had already learned in the Hawaiian tradition, for people that don't know.
yes, yes, I received a download of it through the back of my head through a pohaku on this temple back in Hawaii, maybe in 2018 or 19. So I kind of knew that this was my path. I just at the time didn't know where to, like, why was it given to me? It was given to me by a tree. It was given to me on the back of my head by this temple, this pohaku that a kahuna had brought me to, and also in the ocean. Like 3 different times this download came through. And so I just saw it on the wall and I knew I was, this is where I needed to be. And then I turned around and looked up and I started being able to read all the hieroglyphs. And it was very difficult for me to understand what I was going through. It took about a year from the time that I came back from Egypt to really integrate all of that. Um, but that's what we talk about, the memories resurfacing and coming back into our view. And I knew at that moment that I made the right choice to be there because this was a part of me that was part of those shadows that I prayed about that I didn't want to look at, something that was hidden within me. And it was the power and the mana of my ancestors, because actually on my father's side, that's where my lineage comes from. And I didn't realize that until I got there in Egypt. But Celeste, when you approached me and you asked me, hey, what do you think about doing something? I was like, oh my gosh, because the Wahine that took us on the last trip, she was trying to get me to take a trip there. And I just wasn't ready. You know, me, I walk really humbly and I don't want to like go to a land that I don't know or is unknown. I really have to sit and integrate with that for a bit. And it gave me that opportunity. And when we started talking, I realized this is a part of who I am because my roots come from this land, like
Yeah.
in my DNA, in my physical DNA. And when we were talking, so many things began opening up, and we were so in sync about the waters. And I was like,
Crazy.
this is the sign. This is the Hoailona. I'm ready. And so I had reached out to Sandy and I told her, okay, I'm ready. I think I'm really ready to take this leap. And she said, I'm so excited. So here we are.
Here we are. I wanna just like first, so I wrote down a few things because I just think it's so important. And first of all, like to follow our soul calling,
Oh
like
my gosh.
when somebody told you, do you want to go to Egypt? And your body was like, yes. And then you couldn't believe it. Like that's what happened to me with Hawaii. For some reason, my body would just get lit up thinking about it. And then finally being there, everything opened up for me. Like all these, for some of us, like we don't have the physical DNA to these lands. And that was my story. And you feel like an outsider. You feel like that's not your story. And for so long, I denied my connection with Hawaii. And and then just to realize, like, if your soul is calling you, it's because your DNA is awakening, your multidimensional aspects are awakening. And
Yes.
it's really important to start crossing that bridge at this time as we, create this new consciousness on Earth. It's like there is of course we have to honor both, right? Physical and
Yes.
multidimensional, and they're just as valid. And I think for me it's been a hard time to make them just as valid. And just you not knowing that your physical lineage was in Egypt, but then so much opened up for you on all the realms. And then
Mhm.
for me there's a lot of after Lemuria, went, a lot of it was then seated in Atlantis. And I feel like a lot of Lemurian souls maybe go there, and maybe why I'm being called to that temple is because there is actually more of a connection than what we might
Oh
logically
yeah.
think. And
Hmm.
ever since awakening to Lemurian memories, especially being on Hawaiian land, the notion of creation and primordial waters has always been with me. And so I think we're just
Hmm.
bringing this whole puzzle together. And it's being on the land, it's being in these spaces, and just, walking humbly and saying, yes, I'll be there and let's see what happens. Only in that way can we like really start bringing the puzzle together. And it's just fascinating.
Yes,
Yeah.
so true, Celeste, because that's how I felt too. You know, I just felt like I had no connection to this land when I went to Egypt. I mean, when people would talk about Egypt, and I would be like, but this is where my path is. And so I would almost deny it, like push it away. And so
Hmm.
nothing, things were coming through, but I wasn't seeing the messages because I was so busy pushing it away and saying, no, this is where I belong here. And when I got there, so much opened up. And when you talk about like the connection between the two, I really believe that it's some kind of convergence that we are at a place in right now
Yeah.
in humanity's ascension process. We're supposed to allow the convergence to come into one because we are that consciousness aspect of both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I always say different energies, but they're not. I
Yeah.
feel like they're the same energies, just in two different timelines of consciousness, you
Yeah.
know? And it's really time to converge within us and allow those parts of us to awaken.
Yeah.
I know, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I still can't believe it. Like, I woke up this morning, I was like, oh my God, we said yes.
When this is happening, this is really
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Yeah. And the most interesting part is when we came together and we started talking about it. Um, we have a specialized spiritual guide that is taking us. He's a Egyptologist. And Celeste and I started talking about our experiences and our visions. And he said, it's all the same vision. This is the same thing. This is about the noon. And he started talking about the primordial waters, and we were just in awe. And he told us the specific temple that Celeste had the vision of. She was just saying it wrong. I was saying it wrong because we saw the word, but we didn't know how to pronounce it. And he said, "Oh my God, I'm so excited to take you guys on this journey because this is meant to be." And
Yeah.
that was just like, wow. It
Yeah.
was the exhale of the, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'm in surrender. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
And it's so nice too because he's very tuned in, you can
Oh,
tell.
yeah.
He's very tuned
Yes.
in and he gets the energy and he's in flow and he understands like what the group needs. I think he's been doing this for more than like 20 years. And so he
Yeah.
got it. He was like, yeah, you ladies are here for primordial waters and memories and activation. Like, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. And I think, yeah, we all felt like, oh my God, this man, he's like an angel that's like
Yes.
escorting us safely into these places so that we can remember and integrate. Yeah.
Yeah. Celeste, when I met him in 2023, we walked into a room and we sat down. And a lot of tours are just about tour of history or history that they want us to see. And he just started speaking through the heart. And the whole time he's speaking, I'm just crying. I have no idea. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying. But he really looks beyond the beyond the beyond. And that's what I love about him and his tour people is it's not just a tour. It's not just let us take them to this place and regurgitate all the history. He goes really deep into the spiritual aspect of the mana, of the energy, of the consciousness. And so
Mm.
that was really special. So that's something different about this trip. That's one of the reasons why I said yes, because it wasn't just a trip. It was like,
Yeah.
wow, we can integrate the pyramid, all three parts of us, and bring
Yeah.
it together and have just an amazing spiritual experience.
Mm, yeah. And I think that leads us maybe to like the last part, because I've been getting really amazing souls asking me, is this a spiritual retreat? Is it a healing retreat? Like what kind of retreat? Because we talk a lot about remembering and we it resonates a lot. But let's just talk a little bit deeper about what we see a healing experience or a spiritual experience to be. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I
And we
think
both like
living every day is healing, you know, just
yeah.
allowing ourselves to experience life is healing. If we're speaking in the aspect of like hands-on healing, no, this isn't about that. It's really about creating a space to empower each other, and connect in a deeper space of consciousness all together to remember, and just like I talked about just last year, sending out the prayer, and then going through the experience of what I went through during the whole Lono season, 2.5 months, that was
That's
that
it.
was the biggest gift of healing I could have received,
Yeah.
and I thank my ancestors for that because sitting here writing it all doesn't give me a chance to put things into action. I got
Yeah.
to be out there and walk through my fears. And
Yeah.
so, in that aspect of healing, I think it is because we're stepping into the unknown. We're
Yeah.
surrendering and we're just allowing. And I would really ask people if they do come, don't get into an expectation of this is how it's going to be. Just allow yourself to be engulfed in it,
Yeah.
and that's really how I went into it. When I went in 2023, I didn't step in for an expectation of wanting downloads and codes and all of this stuff. I just stepped into it like, here I am, like a child ready
Yeah.
to just play, and it just came and came. So much had went into my body that some of it I couldn't even hold it physically, and during this trip we have time to integrate that because we'll be on the boat on the waters. But yeah, in that aspect of the question, not really hands-on healing, but a healing in our own journey in our own right.
Yeah.
Yeah. in our own right of just being here on earth and moving through space and time and allowing ourselves the opportunity for expansion in our knowledge and expansion in consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to share too that I feel sometimes, like especially in a lot of the spiritual movement, things become more complicated than what they need to be. And what I always remember, just always connecting to Lemuria and also Hawaii, every time I feed around that land or every time I connect to that energy, everything is so simple and the veils are thin. I think going to Egypt, the veils are thin, so your heart intention is felt and reflected. It's given to you. So if you are seeking healing and you go into these lands, the land will give you healing through your own
Yes.
experiences. And it's like I think sometimes we forget the power of that, the power of our intention and the power of just every day waking up and you know like, oh my God, you're on a boat and something happens. That's the
Mm,
healing. Oh my God, you're in a temple and a fear comes up or an activation comes up. There's the remembrance. And I
yeah.
think in the simplicities of the moment to moment, that's when we learn the most. And
Mm,
yeah, I just have found the most incredibly, I guess you can call them spiritual healing experiences in in extremely mundane circumstances. Like you're just laying on a stone, and all of a sudden, incredible multidimensional things happen. And you're like, I barely set the intention, right? So yeah, I think it's like if you're called, you know, and then the land will give you what you need. And of course we're creating spaces like we both work with sound, we both work with star ancestry, we both work with like sacred sites and portals. And so like, we're both called to the Hathor site and all different temples. And of course, I think we'll have time to, be in the group and work through breath exercises and chants and sound where we can come together and activate.
mm,
But yeah, I
mm,
think empowering us to be like, mm, your healing experience is yours, and then you get to integrate that. And then, you know, like however you want to share that or not share that, it becomes your healing and spiritual experience.
right.
And that
Yes.
I love that, as
Mm.
opposed to like, this is what it needs to look like, and this is how we're going to do ceremony, and this is what we expect from this outcome in this temple. It's like, we don't
Yeah,
know
we don't.
happen.
Yeah. And that's the thing is there is no set. Like, okay, we have a day by day that we were given to by the Egyptologists, but in those spaces, that's why I love working with you, Celeste, because we just kind of move with the energy of what the group is going through, you know?
Yeah,
We have so many we have so much EK and so much knowledge um of things, and we could sit here and write a book all day, but it's not about that. It's just being about being able to be in the energy and in like literally in the energy of creation and working with that energy of seeing where it is within all of us. Yeah. Because we could say, oh, yeah, one day we'll do breath work, but one day we might really need integration, or we might need a good circle of just laughing, or we might just need to hang off the side of the boat and watch the water and relax and rest. And so that's part of surrendering to the now and what is. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that brings me a lot of like emotion because I remember in the very beginning, I would have all of these like experiences. And I think just having that safe space where you can say, where people understand that you're there
Mm,
for, I guess you could call quote unquote a spiritual journey. And like you're saying, sometimes you just need to look at water.
yeah.
Sometimes you just need to like sit still in a temple. And I feel like those are the most powerful moments. And to have a group that just understands
Mm,
that just doesn't have to be
yes.
like, hey, are you okay? What's wrong? Why are you? It's like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, like just I love that experience and I'm just gonna let her have that experience, not have to
Yes.
help or think or judge or whatever.
Mm,
And I feel that because it's what I feel like we need, just allow each other to have whatever experience we're meant to have and just like be in joy for that, you know?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah, and that's what I love about Amro because that's what they bring. It's not like trying to shuttle us from place to place to place on let's be on time. We
yeah,
really have that opportunity with him to sit in these places and be, and if we go in and we feel like no, we'll just walk out and do other things around the land area, it's like all good. But
yeah,
that to me that's really important is not not creating these timelines to just shuffle things through, and just being in a space of being with everybody and whatever is happening, this is what's happening.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah. So we don't want to make this video too long,
Right.
but tell us about the early bird special.
So we have early bird. You get to save $333 on the whole experience, and that is going to be until the 21st of March. So all that is needed up front is the initial deposit, and you can pay in full. You get a discount for that the whole time until we go. But yeah, the early bird, you save 333, and that's available till March 21st. There's a lot of different options for occupancy. So if you want a double occupancy, single, that's all on the website. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put all the website links below. We'll put Anela's website, my website, and then just where you can register. So once you register, there's a PDF and you can see all of the information, the itinerary, also just the website itself. We put all of the occupancy information. So like all of the logistics is all there. And you can just tune in and see like how does this feel? And of course, if there's any questions, you guys can reach out to us. We're also planning to do more videos like this just to get like to tune into the energy and the frequency of the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we also have two private visits to two sites. And so what a private visit is that no other tourists or nobody else is there. They close down the site and give us 2 hours in the space with just our group. So it's really nice because we will only have 12 people. And we chose 12 people because we really wanted to do the boat on the Nile, and we'll be traveling down the Nile for about 5 or 6 days on the boat. Um, and it gives us
It's a
the upper
private,
yeah, it's a private boat. It's
just our
not like
group.
yeah, it's just our group. So
Yeah.
that's why our group is small and we're only allowing certain people. I mean, not certain people, but
Quantity.
certain amount
Mhm.
because we all want to be able to fit on this private boat. And the experience is just incredible. And so yeah,
And you had mentioned that the food, by the way, is
oh,
amazing. That's one of the things that I'm always
we
worried.
We have a private chef on the boat, and the food was just incredible. Like the mangoes in Hawaii, the
Yeah.
mangoes on this boat was just like the ones in Hawaii. And Celeste, I've been traveling the world for 3 years and traveling all over ever since I left Hawaii, and I've never been able to taste a mango like I do in Hawaii. And this boat had the mango like Hawaii. And so I said, "Are these Hawaiian mangoes?" And he said, "No. You see that right there?" And he was showing me the farmers, he said, it comes right from there. So the water from the Nile feeds
Oh,
into those mangoes. Yeah. It was
oh,
really an
okay.
experience for me. So yeah, the food is going to be good.
Yeah,
But yeah, go to the website and to the links and you can read more in detail. And feel free to reach out anytime with specific questions that you have.
yeah. Okay. Well, that feels really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. So we're doing this.
Yeah, we
We are
are.
remembering.
We are remembering.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you
Things are
don't,
moving.
oh, go ahead.
Every time we talk, things start moving more fast. It's
Yeah.
just like once we just put it out there, things are manifesting quickly. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's been amazing. I just want to like, maybe we close with this, but as soon as we said yes, how the memories really start to flood
Oh,
in. And yeah, it's like we're being prepared all from now until the end of the year, which is we're going in December. And it's like get ready, receive what you're meant to receive. And I'm sure this is going to happen for everybody because that's the intention we're holding for this container. It's like we want to bring in the souls that are wanting to remember. And so like
Yeah.
if you're coming, like you're remembering, you know? And
Yeah,
it's not linear. We don't have to wait
it
until
isn't.
November. Like you're gonna receive like we've been receiving, and it's like yeah, just a blessing to be doing this at this time on this year. Like, yeah. And we'll be preparing, all that energy work right before the winter solstice. So then we'll have a good amount to integrate, that winter season, when we get back.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. And that's really a powerful block of time, between the November and December solstice. So it's really interesting how our dates fell, between that period, because then it allows us to puka through in the winter solstice energy and really be ready to anchor, what
Yeah,
what we're supposed to be for that next season or that next cycle.
yeah, yeah, to step really strongly through that portal. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Well, I
Uh,
think until next time, right?
Yeah. Until next time, mahalo nui, Celeste. I love you so much. So much aloha to you.
Mahalo to you, sister. I love you too. I'm so excited for our journey of remembering.
Me too. And aloha to all of you out there watching this. Mahalo for hanging on so long and watching this to the end. I
Yeah.
appreciate you for
Yes.
letting us share our experiences. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions for some of the future videos that we're going to share about the trip, just send us an email or DM us and then we can bring it in because we'd love to share more about the frequency and the intention of going to this ancient sacred site at this time.
Yes, bring ideas. Like ask a question and say, do a bit video about this. I would
Yeah.
love to.
Yeah. And then we just start to hold in on all the memories. They all just start to come in.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Much love.
Aloha. Ahui ho.
Ahoy ho. Mm.